Hey everybody, it's Ashley here. I just wanted to let you know quickly before we get into the episode that the episode is actually split over two different releases, both of which went up at the same time, but this is part one of episode 80. The reason being is the full episode was just too heavy for the website to hold, so they suggested we split it into two. Heavy of lots of laughters. Alright guys, thank you for listening and let's go to the episode.
Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Honest to Pod with me, Ashley McAllister.
And me, Matthew Alley. I'm a bit husky today. I had a little drink yesterday.
Ooh.
And
this is episode 80.
Song. Huh?
This is episode 80.
We got a little break coming up soon.
We have 10 episodes and we get a little chill break.
Gorgeous.
A little chill. A little chill.
80 is...
The age you look.
Oh, wow. I'm hoping to be a bit younger, so I've got a bit of an ASOS madness, right? Because I hate my clothes and I think I look frumpy. So I bought a sequins top today. Just hoping people think I'm young. And I bought all gold Adidas Stan Smith, all gold.
You're going to send me a picture of them.
They're actually nice, despite my description. So I'm hoping that people will think I'm a little bit more vibrant and young. Yeah.
Oh.
How's your week?
Oh, my days. Well, what a week. What a week. Week's been all right. We had a family death in the week. We had a death in the family in the week gone by, which is sad. Not unexpected. It's the family member in question was in their 90s and not very well, but it's still sad. We were very close growing up, and it would have been my mum's favorite auntie. So it was just sad being here from my mum, and it's been a bit of a dampener in the week. But, and then obviously with everything else happening in the world, still happening, still bubbling, it's just, I don't know, I've gone a bit, I think I've sort of gone into my shell a little bit, and I don't know why, and I think it's because I have a theory why. I think I've had a few, I tend to deal with issues, I think, comically. Like, I'd always post, like, a funny comment or a funny gif or a funny meme about something, and I think everyone just seems so hostile at the minute that you can't actually post anything without somebody shouting back at you. And what happened a couple of weeks ago, and you can give me your opinion on this. A friend on my Facebook had posted pretty much saying, how can the protests be okay, but yet we can't open gyms? Like, it seems like a bit of a double standard. I wrote back as maybe classed as a throwaway comment, if the virus only targeted racists, then we'd have the best of both worlds. And then somebody wrote back to me who they wrote back saying something, again, I can't actually find the post has been deleted and I didn't get text screen grabs, which I usually do, but I just sort of wanted to turn my phone off. They wrote back saying, well, racist people are people who have racist thoughts and also racist actions. So what you're doing is saying you think people should die based on their thoughts, which is barbaric. And I was like, what? I sort of read it and put it on my phone for a minute. I came back and this whole debate had happened. And then I thought, right, well, I started it, so I may as well jump in and have my say again, sort of try and defend what I was trying to say. And I was saying, like, I went back to the guy, I said, well, look, I think you've made a massive jump here. I said, I never once said I think people should die based on their thoughts. I said it would, to overcome the original comment, it would be that the virus would only kill racists. I said, obviously that's not literally possible, but but I think you've blown this massively out of proportion. And then he started having a debate with me. He personally attacked me. Well, I felt like it was a personal attack. He said, "Don't try and tell me what viruses can do. I have a master's degree from this college, whilst you only have a bachelor's degree at this college."
Is this someone you know?
It's nobody I know, some stranger. And he says, you really need to educate yourself and read things like George Orwell's 1984. And I was like, okay, well, if you put your head out of the dystopian novels that you seem so fascinated with, you'd understand that, like I said, it's not possible. And don't come at me about literature when, as you've clearly pointed out, I did a BA in literature. Thank you very much. And then he sort of went on back and forth, and he's like pretty much saying that he thinks I'm a horrible person. And I was like, look, to sum it up before I just close off the phone, if the worst case scenario is that people read this and think Ashley wants racist people to die, people who have racist thoughts and racist actions, I'm okay with that because I don't like racists. I'm not going to sit here and defend I think that people who have racist thoughts should live, even though my comment is impossible that a virus can kill people based on thoughts. If the worst case scenario was that that people die based on racist, that all racists die, then I'm okay with that. So that was that.
I mean, if I'm being completely honest, I don't think I would condone your comment. To be fair, because I think there is a lot of sensitivity issues at the moment about what people are saying. But although it isn't true, I think it's like a sentiment, and if we're saying that one subsection of people shouldn't be killed based on their race, or the coronavirus targets a certain number of people, or a group of people, I think the same should be for all people. So I wouldn't want my joke or argument be that like, well, racists deserve to die based on beliefs. And I just think at the moment it is. Yeah, I think you do. As always, we do need to be careful about what we say, and we need to do it more so more often. But I just don't think it's in. I don't think it's necessarily the right time to do certain things, and that would be one of the things that I would suggest not, based on my own opinion. To be honest.
No, I mean 100%. Like I don't know. I didn't really think it was funny, but I just thought it was me making a point in a different way. But anyway, the point what I took away from it is that people are just so hostile. And then in this other chat today or yesterday, people were like, "Oh." They put a map up of Europe and they said, "Oh, wherever your country is, that's the food associated with you." And then I made a comment like, I think for Ireland it was black pudding, or they called it blood pudding, and I go that, and it was the same for Ireland as it was for England, and I said 100% we have blood pudding because of the English invasions. I said if it wasn't for the English invading us, we would have something like chocolate cake, and then somebody wrote back saying, well, actually, chocolate cake is something that's mainly associated with America, and anyone could wish they could change their food and have chocolate cake, so it was really silly for you to say that. And I was just like, what the fuck? People need to just calm the fuck down. I'm not going to sit and get into a debate about who made chocolate cake first and which country. It was a fucking joke.
Is this on Twitter that you're writing these things?
No, it was something on Facebook. I was just like, oh yeah, no, people are. So I've just sort of tried to keep off everything.
Social media.
And we've also no, but apart from that, a week's been fine. Just been following some more of this CrossFit drama, which is just on off, and not really. Yeah, well, the guy who made the comments last week, he's now steps down as CEO. Some other guy's taking his place, but it's not enough. People want more. People want change. People want everyone to de-affiliate from CrossFit, so they've changed their name from whether it be, I don't know, London CrossFit to London Functional Fitness, because they don't want funding going to the company, but the company are trying to change, and it's not enough change. People are weighing in. Everybody has an opinion, but somebody's opinion offends somebody else's opinion, and I'm just like, okay, well, let's see what happens. Just madness. What else happened this week? God, it hasn't stopped.
This week has been a week. It's been a long week, this one, for sure. Absolutely. Yeah. I agree.
What about you? What about your week?
Yeah, it's like it started off quite terribly. To be fair, a lot of emotions because the last time we'd spoken, I'd gone to the protest,
Mm.
and it was also my mum's birthday on Wednesday. But because I decided to go to the protest, it meant that I couldn't go to my mum's birthday on Wednesday, um, because so I sort of let her know, and she was worried about me, and so we end up, I got a telling off basically, to put it lightly,
Mm.
at the beginning, and then it's just caused a lot of issues within my family for my
Mm.
decision to go, and that's hit me really, really hard um, because of everything that's happened sort of through my adult life. I have been and want to try and build relationships with those in my family, and it's been important for me to do
Mm.
so, but it's just become increasingly more difficult in some instances, and I think I get quite fearful of the fact that like it's, I was worried about me and my mum are good now, like we're all good. I wasn't able to go on Wednesday, so I'll go and see her once the 2 week sort of like period you're supposed to go after the protests are. But it's just that it was just
Mm.
really, really emotional, to be fair, and just having these conversations with people about certain things. And then towards the end of the week, it's just been really, really good. I feel like I managed to get a lot of those emotions out of the way, and really have really good conversations with a lot of my friends and people at work and all of these sorts of things that were really, really important conversations to have. That yeah, the end of the week has been really, really strong, and I feel really, really good. But it's been like a journey just within the past like 7 days, and same way that like where I guess on the internet, like when you're posting things, people are really, really heated. I'm finding it difficult when it's targeted at me for like actions that I believe are the right thing to do, whether they are or
Mm-hmm.
not. So I think it's difficult because a lot of people are very heightened in terms of their feelings and emotions at the point at the moment, and so it's just difficult to take. It's just very emotional, I would just say. So yeah. But
Yeah.
that being said, the end of the week has been pretty strong and really good, and I've had a good weekend. Although we were at the park yesterday, and actually, honestly, I think many people have just sort of decided to not. It was very close in a lot of situations,
Oh,
and
really?
I got drunk and was a bit loose and stuff like that. But only because, yeah, just because. But like, I mean, like hugging and stuff, and I was like, oh
Mm.
no, what to
Mm.
do? And it's like this park I was in yesterday. It was busy. It was busy.
Oh, it
So
makes me
yeah,
so nervous.
it does. It does. It really makes me nervous. I kind of want to stay in the house for a little bit now and be like, oh god. Yeah,
Mm.
it's so easy to fall into normality as well. I will say that. It's so
Yeah.
easy.
Well, that's good because I was worried that coming out of the quarantine, that would all be a bit weird being around people again. Like I'd be like, oh, can I hug you now, or can I not hug you now, or
I think people are just going to be like, well, people are hugging now and stuff. So
mm.
yes, but apart from that, yeah, no, the week's been good.
We've also had a very good week for the podcast, haven't we?
Yes, a really good week. Uh,
Yeah.
Go on.
Oh well, we've had a positive iTunes review.
Whoop, whoop. Someone
So we had
is thirsty.
well, we've had a 5-star review from a user called Gurgbot. Gurgbot.
Yeah, God.
I can't say a name
G.
right.
He just wrote G at the back, and then we'll leave it at that.
Yeah. They said, awesome, 5 stars. I just find a handsome guy on Instagram, start to follow him and realize he's doing a podcast with his friends. Start to listen them and love it. Very interesting and funny. Such a good crack. Kiss. Keep up the work. Keep up the good work. GXX.
Mm.
Thank you very much, G. Um, Matt is a very handsome guy, and we should send love his way. Thanks, Matt. Matt,
um,
honestly, your face does so much for our podcast.
oh, bitch, please. I was like, I'll guess who this is about again. And found him on Instagram, and I was like, of course, he led to Ashley, and I was like, of course. And then you know what came up on my memory recently was this was Barbara had been like, oh, Ashley looked good in a post she did on this pod on Facebook, and I'd written like, what am I, just chopped liver then, bitch? Like, come on. Listen, Ashley, I know you're stunning, but I am too. Okay, I promise.
Ashley, you look really good in this photo, but Matt, you do not.
I do not apparently. Yeah. So no, but the feedback's excellent. It's nice to know it's someone new. I like that. I like the idea that
Yeah,
they've
it's
come to my family
growing
recently.
and yeah. Guys, honestly, it's so simple to leave an iTunes review. Go to the podcast app, search for the podcast, then scroll to the bottom, tap on reviews, give us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stars, whatever you think is deserving. 5 stars, 5 stars, 5 stars, 5 stars, 5 stars, 5 stars. And then you can write a
5
little
stars.
comment in there. Yeah,
5
5 stars.
stars.
5 stars, 5 stars, 5 stars. We pointed out
stars.
a couple of weeks ago that somebody had previously had given us 5 stars, and then they had changed their review to 1 stars, but they had left their comment really positive. Do you remember I sent it to you, Matt? Being like,
Yeah.
"This is just strange." So we've obviously said something to either piss them off, or one of us has rejected that person somewhere. And they were like, "Well, actually, no, I hate your podcast. What you do is disgusting. I'm going to give it 1 star." Like, not even like, it's no longer 5 stars. You're going to the bottom of this pile. You're 1 star. You're garbage. You're shit.
Probably. I'm sure it was you. To be fair, you
I
messaged
probably
on
said something.
Instagram, and you were just like, "Bye, next."
Thank you for the attention, but bye.
Yeah.
No, I think I like to engage with people, but I sort of can only do it when I have time. I don't always have time because I do have a life and work and everything else bubbling over, and family members to appease and arguments to have on Facebook. But but honestly, we do love every single comment we get, either whether it be on iTunes or even on posts on Instagram or messages. We read as many as we can, and we'll obviously call whatever we can out. Another big shout out to Seth from the rugby club, who tagged us in a Facebook post this week as his pride heroes. I mean, I feel pretty heroic.
I mean, it's just so humbling to know that the work we're doing has such a profound impact on the world around us. It's just a little podcast. Just what happens will be something else.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, but it's actually really sweet. Very, very sweet.
It was unbelievably sweet, and I read it, and I had to read it twice. It's like, I thought it was just some sort of joke, but I was like, oh my god, really? And it's it's. I remember whenever I did something online once, and I got a message saying, "Oh, you've done this for me, and it's really changed." And I like making content, just because of I get to discover myself more, but also out of just being creative. And I think everyone should have a creative outlet. And this is mine. This is one of mine. And the fact that you're able to do something creative, which helps you grow, but then also affects and influences and entertains other people, I find it really rewarding. And so I like to hear whenever people appreciate the work you do, which is nice. And then so thank you, Seth. Thank you for that. That was really, really nice. It was very sweet. And then lastly, this week we've also got a new Patreon. So the who don't know or listening new, Patreon is like OnlyFans, but you're paying for us to keep talking rather than take our clothes off. Matt will take his clothes off for money, but it's a lot more than $5 a month.
For sure. I've got a lot of body to show.
Yeah, it's
$10,
and that is yours.
It costs a lot of money, okay? And now at the moment, brown skin is an all-time premium. Our stock rate has gone up considering the movements, and we are now more valuable than ever, okay? So it's going to cost you a lot. Invest now.
Invest now. 100% invest now. What a resource to have at your disposal. The comedy, the voice, the face, the skin.
Oh my God, I'm so lucky.
You are lucky. But I genuinely think it's the same guy who left the
It is. It's definitely the same guy. He left the feedback.
I didn't realize until just a second. I was like,
literally the same thing, Ash. I was going to be like, I was trying to interrupt you just before you start. We've got someone new give us. I said, no, it's the same person.
No, I know. I was trying to pronounce this name again. I was like, I feel like I've just tried to pronounce this name before. But yeah, thank you very much, Gergo, for. I hope I've said that right. I'm really sorry if I haven't. Please tell me off. Thank you very much for signing up to be a Patreon. it helps us invest in ourselves a bit more with regards to money, because we don't make money off this podcast. We don't block it with advertising space. We don't do any of that. We're just, raw, independent, two little gays trying to make the way in the podcast world. It's a really, really big rags to riches, not so riches story. So yeah, I mean, thank you very much for doing that. We didn't want to push Patreon really recently because we know a lot of people are, furloughed or uncertain where money's coming from. We're obviously very grateful for the Patreons who are with us and those who have supported us in the past. Like it's unbelievable. But yeah, to show this sort of support is something that I would never have imagined when we started 2 years ago what it would be like. Here we are, 80 episodes in, and people are like, hey, we love what you do so much that we want to support it like this. It's overwhelming. I'm overwhelmed every day.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for contributing and helping us. A feedback and a patron in 1 week is beautiful. Beautiful.
I know.
Like honestly, it's so sweet. So thank you very much.
Yeah.
And you earn a special video chat with Ashley McAllister, which you can use. It's a 7-minute chat. So yeah. Anyway. Shall we introduce our next, our guest for this week, maybe?
Oh my God. Yeah, we have a guest coming on in a minute, and oh my days, are we in for a treat. But before Matt gives him a little intro, so much we didn't get a chance to talk about, which we wish we could have, and we might cover it off some other time. J.K. Rowling and her tweets didn't get a mention this week. Oh my God, what a fucking Harry Potter disaster that is. The whole blackface issue of Little Britain gone off the wind, the media taking things off media channels. We didn't get a chance to talk about that this week. So again, maybe one other day we'll talk about that. But Matt, let's talk about our guest.
So this guest is someone I've known for a long time. We went to secondary school together, and we started when we were 11.
Oh my God.
So only
67 years ago.
I was going to say 8 years ago when I was 11 years old. We went to St. Aloysius College in North London. Shout out St. Aloysius College. St. Aloysius College. Yeah. Which is, unfortunately, right by it is something called Suicide Bridge.
Oh.
Yes. Yeah, so we got that right next to our school. So that's a little landmark. It's in Archway in North London. And he's now a performer. He is an actor, primarily musical theatre, and he'll introduce himself. But he's someone that I've been friends with for a long time. And those friends that you feel like you just, whatever happens in your life, you'll always be able to just reconnect, and it will feel like you haven't skipped a beat. It's very much the same with Yokai. Like honestly, like it's definitely one of the funniest people that I knew growing up, and I'm so glad that he's doing so well. And yeah, he's here to bless us with his presence and talk a little bit about being a performer in the current climate, and also being a black man in the current climate as well.
Oh, and we get a little insight into the world of performing arts as well. So welcome, Yokai. Yay!
Yeah. So now we've got a wonderful guest on, and he will introduce himself, tell us a little bit about his background, what he does in his spare time and his work time. So, yes, please introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Kayi Ushe, and I'm a performer, predominantly in musical theatre, most recently playing Lola in Kinky Boots, up and down the UK and over in Ireland. And me and Matt went to secondary school together. So yeah, it's good to be chatting with you. Good to be chatting with you too, Ashley.
Welcome.
Yeah, me and Yokai were in. Oh, sorry, Kai. Pardon me. Were in the same form class, I think, when we first started, isn't it?
Yeah.
And a lot of the same classes. And the good thing about Yokai now is that his head is actually bigger than mine, and he's someone that I look forward to both seeing in person and in pictures, because whenever I feel down about myself in my head, and people like to tell me about my face, I just look at a picture of Yokai and think, there's always one worse. There's always one worse.
It's a yeah. Growing up, I mean, it was definitely one of those things in the playground, getting insults hurled, and I hurled some insults back. Let's be clear, but my dad tells me I definitely get it from him. So in school, when he grew up, he was known as Five Head.
Yes.
Oh wow, so brutal.
They're beautiful. Big foreheads are beautiful, beautiful things, I think.
Correct.
And it's just more beautiful skin
could...
to show.
Exactly. I could definitely, definitely watch like a cinema screen on my forehead reflected if I wanted to. But I love my head. I love who I am. I love the shape of everything about me, and so do I love everything about you, Matt.
Thank you. I do. You know, Yoko is definitely one of the funniest people that we had in school, I would say. So even if there was anything, I mean, we all have our things like when we're teenagers and stuff growing up, and hopefully we learn to like accept the parts of us that maybe other people didn't at the start. But one way that you dealt with it for sure, and I think we're all very funny and tried to have a lot of jokes in school. So yeah, no, it's really nice. It was nice knowing you back then, I must say.
Yeah,
really
yeah. That's the one thing, as a almost as a coping mechanism, but also, just in general, you got to laugh because sometimes, you'll cry, but you got to find the humor in these things because life's too short.
100%.
I wanted to ask actually, because I was thinking about this, and this might be the same for you actually as well, because you can kind of remember what you were like as a teenager or a young person, and like 10, 15 years have passed, and you have an idea of what you are now. But do you have like an impression? What is it that you remembered about me in school that you think is either different or the same? And you're always a bit like, oh, do you know what? Matt was a really horrible person in school and used to insult everyone. Because I feel like that might have been the case.
What, me?
I'm asking you about me in school, because I just like, and I don't know. Like, I remember you being really, really funny. A little bit awkward, a bit gangly, because you were quite like long-limbed. You got very long arms, for sure. But that's the main thing I remember about you, is actually just, I never used to laugh anywhere near as much about anyone except for you in school. That's one thing I remember.
I think, back in school, thinking about like, the people who I was closest to and the people who made me laugh the most, the people who I would want to spend all of my time with, definitely, you were one of those people, because similarly, we always did impressions of our teachers. We would always laugh, like, Mr. Sarpong, wherever you are, we were there, just basically making each other laugh and going through the trials and tribulations of what we probably thought were, our hardest years in our teenage growing up in St. Aloysius College in North London. But yeah, it was all all humor and all jokes and also mutual interests. That's all I remember of you, to be honest. And you definitely were what I like to refer to as like a justice type person. You were like, I'm not going to stand for this. I'm going to speak up about certain things. In scenarios on the playground or scenarios in classroom. I think we were we were two of the people in our classes who were very, very quick to talk about like if somebody was being treated a certain way, etc. And then to have a laugh about it later, because it wasn't that deep.
Oh, wow, that's so interesting, because that's something I'm going through right now at the moment, actually. And I think over the past few years, I kind of lost that sense. And considering what's happened in the world and around my workplace and things like that, like it's something that I sort of I didn't realize was such a thing. So it's quite interesting you say that, because I feel like I've always stood for what I believe was fair, and I guess in some way I used to speak about it. But actually now, I think I felt as growing up as an adult, trying to like get into like society as a whole, I felt like I've had to like dumb that down or not say what I believe in,
especially when it gets to the broader scale. Like in school, it's a definitely like a microcosm of the world outside, and then now as adults and with these massive narratives that are floating around, especially at the moment, there's a level of responsibility to speak up about things, but also not to relay misinformation. And I think obviously, when you're at school and, somebody's cussed your forehead, you can absolutely clap back quickly. But when it's, a big narrative, you have to be a lot more mindful.
No, I agree. Ashley, what were you like in school? Do you remember? I mean, you're a little bitch now. And if you're talking about like justice people, like that's definitely Ash. He's never let go of that. Like if he sees something and wants to talk about something, then he has been. Do you think you were the same in school?
Oh no! Back in school, I was so quiet. I was one of the quiet in the class. I didn't really have many friends. I used to keep myself to myself. Would never have spoken out of class. Like, and I used to, I used to always get really embarrassed if I was ever asked to speak. So I was one of those people like would shy away and never do anything. Yeah, I was totally different in school than I am now. 100%.
What made you? Did something change? Like, or do you think you're like that now? Would you say?
No, I mean, I'm still sort of. I say at the minute, I'm still sort of. I could never go into a room of people I don't know and be like the center of attention. And even if there's people I do know, I'm always quite quiet until I can work people out. But I think the big changing point in me, as far as I remember, when I was 16, 17, I got a job working in a local bar and I had to sort of talk to people, like customers and stuff. And it was quite a brutal, not brutal in like a violent sense, but brutal just as in like a brutal setup where if you weren't sort of out there and chatty and you didn't fit in with the sort of crowd, you sort of got overlooked quite a lot and you wouldn't be given the shifts. So you sort of had to be one of the in and chat with people, and that sort of really made me come out of my shell. And I remember there was a guy, he's called John, his name's Diggsy, but he's sort of, I don't want to say took me under his wing, but I think he recognized that I was very quiet and he was very quiet, but he just sort of made me flourish a little bit in a sort of world where I was very quiet. And sort of, I don't know, I just remember always thinking, I related back to my bar days thinking, well, this really made me brought out of my shell. If that makes sense. I don't know. Yeah. I was very quiet.
It sounds like you were an observer. It sounds like, sorry to interrupt. It sounds like you would observe the people around you, their surroundings, and just sort of. I can relate in the same sense that like people assume that because I work in theatre that I must be loud or walk into a room and I'm like, yeah, life of the party.
Yeah.
I find it so difficult to walk into a room and meet people for the first time and like just bear everything or just have a conversation, and it's sort of what's expected of you in the industry, when actually I'm quite a bit of an introvert. Do you know what I mean?
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I can find like myself, I could start a conversation with a stranger very easily if it was one-on-one.
Yeah.
But if it's a room of people, I'm there and I work everyone out before I sort of start spilling the tea.
I think that's the sensible way to go about it, to be fair, because I find it really difficult when someone goes into a new space and is really like, what I deem as like, look at me. And I'm like, I don't know, you don't know what these people are, you don't know who these people are. So then I feel like it's almost like quite a self-centered way of behaving, that you just assume that everybody wants to see or hear what you have to say in those situations.
I'll jump in, Matt, which is a very big misconception of you a lot of the time in rugby.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
A lot of people think you're out there craving attention, and it's not. Like we know personality types within our, like when we both played for the seconds, within our team member that were 100% desperate for every single bit of attention they could get. And a lot of people couldn't tell the difference between them and you, who just, people asked your opinion and you took the opportunity to tell your opinion. You didn't overdo it, underdo it. You just said it was on your mind. But people, massive misconception of you and what your personality type was like, I'd say.
I agree. Like, I don't believe that I fight for attention. I just think attention follows me around. And everybody will look at me and they will hear me and they want to hear it. I can't help it, okay, guys? I'm just so compelling. So compelling. It's impossible. But you know what? It works. It does. It works. It works as well, because I've been like the captain of our some of the teams, and I give like these big rousing speeches at the start of games. And okay, I've made people cry with my speeches. I'm just gonna say this: tears
at the beginning of a rugby game,
like of emotion. I can get the emotion out of people.
It's the most demotivating speech.
Oh, God.
It's like I'm there with the tissues, and I'm like, I just want to now go home and cry myself, rather than go into a ruck and tackle somebody.
Yeah.
It's Oscar worthy, but Not for
Do you know what though? I do make people cry a lot, especially when I was working in the restaurants and as a manager. Honestly, I could make 2 or 3 people of like my team cry in a day.
Crying
Like,
out of inspiration, or
no, definitely not. Out of performance or lack thereof. And they'd be like, "Listen, we need to talk." And then they break down and they tell me why they're not, why they came in late 4 days in a row or something. Oh, my mum is this, my child is this, I don't know, my relationship, blah blah blah. I'm like, that's all great news. You are literally in a place of work. You need to stop crying. That kind of thing. But
again,
no.
justice, just pure justice.
Yeah. Do you know, I was quite interested, Yoko, because I knew you in school, and I think I used to perform quite often. And I don't know if I ever, for you to become an actor, I was honestly really surprised because I didn't see that coming in terms of things that you did while I was in school. So how did you actually get into performing?
You know what's strange is, so I obviously don't come from a musical theatre trained background. It's something I didn't know that I was going to do. And when I talk to people who knew me from before college and before university, and obviously before my career, it's really like they are the people who obviously know me best because they saw me at like during my most developmental stages. And so, like, I grew up with epilepsy, as you'll know, Matt.
Oh God,
Yeah,
yes.
exactly. So, like,
Yeah, bad migraines.
what really bad migraines and seizures. Actually, I think the
Yeah.
categorization of what I had has changed now, but when I grew up, it was called epilepsy. And so, like, I couldn't go places where there would be flashing lights. I couldn't go to school discos in primary school unless I was wearing sunglasses, and all of the other kids in the class were like, why are you wearing sunglasses? You must think you're cool. And I'm like, if I don't wear sunglasses, I'll be on the floor fitting, so please leave me alone. Let me have my two-step. But yeah, so after secondary school, going to college, I picked up, I did drama in secondary school, then did drama in college as well. And then in university, I studied modern drama studies, but it was mostly a theoretical course, and it was mostly based in devising, so it wasn't a drama course per se. And then after university, where I got a 2-1, taps self on the back, I went on to just start auditioning because there were friends of mine who really wanted to go and do a trained course, and I come from a big family, as Matt knows, a family of 6 brothers and 1 sister, myself included. So, my parents weren't in the best position to send us off to various private institutions. So I went straight from getting my degree into audition rooms where, I didn't really know heads or tails of what was happening, but I was like, if I'm going to go to drama school and if I'm going to ask my parents to spend this much money, then I need to, at least within myself, identify what my weakest prongs are so that I can focus and make sure that however many years I do at drama school, it sort of best serves my progression into this career. So I started auditioning, and I think I auditioned, oh gosh, Matt, I've never told you this story. I auditioned, I went to, so back in the day, if you didn't have an agent or etc., the only way that I knew to get auditions was from a publication called The Stage, when they were still releasing it as like a full newspaper. I think they still do now, but most of their stuff is online at the moment. And so I would go to the back and look at the auditions that were open calls, and I went to an open call for Hairspray because the advert said, do you want to dance with Motormouth Maybell, or join the nicest kids in town? Come down to Erdang Academy. So I went down to Erdang Academy. And I got there, and the person on reception was like, hello? I was like, yeah, I'm here to audition for Hairspray. And the person looked at me and went, oh, okay. And she was like, write your name here. So I wrote my name, went into the waiting room, and I looked around the waiting room, and there wasn't another black kid there. And I was like, okay. So I clearly, this advert was for, only the nicest kids in town, but because it had said, you want to hang out with Motormouth, I thought, okay, maybe, it's for the, black members of the company. So I went in, we did a routine, and the routine, I mean, I'm not the best dancer, let's be clear, but I definitely did that routine and did it justice. And at the end, they called out, they were like, if we call out your name, unfortunately, you haven't made it through to the next round. And I remember speaking to somebody at the audition who was like, this is definitely only for the nicest kids in town. And then at the end of that, they were like, yeah, so Kai, sorry, we won't be taking you forward at this point. And I was like, yeah, I understood. Thank you for letting me do the free cardio, but I will leave now. Anyway, my next set of auditions was for, oh gosh, I can't even remember, but it was for a company abroad. And luckily there, I think they did like 5 rounds in one day, and I got through to the 3rd round. And in the 3rd round, I met a lovely woman by the name of Scarlett Douglas. And she was like, well, I've forgotten my sheet music. You've made it through the 3rd round. Can I borrow your sheet music? And like, do you have an agent or something? And I was like, I don't have an agent. And she said to me, okay, well, if you want, I can give you the email of my agent because you've helped me out by giving me your sheet music. And then you can maybe, talk to them about representation. And that's when the ball really started rolling. I got in with an agency called K Talent. And then, just started auditioning through them and landed my first job, which was Tyrone and Fame in Italy, touring Italy.
Oh, I forgot about that. The first thing I remember you was Avenue Q.
Yeah, that's the first thing I did in this country, yeah.
Yeah. So how was your time in Italy?
That was it was incredible. The reverence that they have for stage performance in Italy was something I just never knew. So, we arrived in our first venue in Milan, and we did the performance. And after the performance, we were told that we had to do like an address to the audience and talk to them and answer questions. So I was like, okay, cool. So they said, Kai, you'll be going last. So what we had to do was just say, hi guys, but in Italian, which is ciao ragazzi, and then say who we were and say what our character was. So they set up this line of chairs on stage, and they went from stage left through to stage right. And the person stage left said, ciao ragazzi, I'm X, Y, and Z, and I play X, Y, and Z. And the audience were like, woo, yay. And by the time it got to me, I said ciao ragazzi, and this wasn't because it was me, but because they're so, I think at the time the younger people within the communities that we were performing to, I don't think they had that much exposure to black people on stage in Italy, and so I said ciao ragazzi, and they went absolutely like wild, and I was like, this is my first experience of like what it must feel like to be like Beyonce. This is how Beyonce feels every day. And yeah, it was mental. I really I came back from there to to the UK and did my first performances in the UK in a professional setting, and I remember remarking upon it, saying like, oh, in Italy you'll feel like Beyonce every time you see somebody from either at stage door or when you're talking to someone. In the UK there feels like this sort of, well, impress me attitude.
You're not even a Michelle.
Yeah, well, there we go. Exactly. You go
in Italy,
Beyonce
was this
to feeling like Michelle?
This is before your performance. You hadn't even performed, and they just cheered wildly for you.
No, so it was at the end of performances. At the end of performances, when we would do the question and answer, and they would just cheer wildly after just saying your name. And then we got loads of questions, and some of them were interesting. Some of them we were told not to respond to. But yeah, they always cheered.
Like what?
We'll save that for another time.
Oh man.
Yeah. No, they were seriously some like, can we have Kai's number? And they were like, whoa, okay, here's the thing. This is a professional environment, and so you don't need to answer that question. Also, at stage door, we'll be by your side.
Oh man, that's wicked. And then the most recent thing you did was playing Lola in Kinky Boots.
Yes, the lovely lady Lola in Kinky Boots, up and down the UK and across an island.
I fucking love Kinky Boots so much. It hurts. I saw it it was on the Strand in London, and we got some free tickets from my friend at work. She just they gave them out to people where we work, and I took my mum, and she thinks it's the best thing she's ever seen. It's such a good performance. Had you seen the show before you actually performed in it?
So I saw the opening night of the London cast. So I saw Matt Henry do it originally because Rose, my partner, was she was working in wardrobe at Kinky Boots in the West End. So I went to go and support her, and saw the first production, the opening show. There we go, got there eventually, and it blew me away. Like this story of, it's an underdog story, a story at the turn of the industrial development, like where shoemaking and boot making was concerned, and also just this story of real heart. it just opened my eyes as well in so many ways. Like, yeah, Matt, who is a friend of mine, he did such an incredible job. I remember texting him being like, wow, you blew me away, thank you.
I remember him from The Voice, so I didn't realize that he was on. I didn't connect the dots, and he's the same person. He got quite far in The Voice, actually, didn't he? When he was on it.
He did. Yeah, there's a physiotherapist I know who absolutely loves one of his like performances. I think it was Babylon that he did while he was on The Voice. And you know, we'd always so we worked together on Avenue Q, me and Matt Henry, and we'd always teased him about how much he looks like Will.i.am.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So then when he was on The Voice and everybody started saying it, we were like, "Nah, we said it first. Nah."
Ash, have you seen Kinky Boots or heard of it?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen the film, but I never got to see, because I think when did it come out in London? Because I think it might have came out just like before I moved back, and then it finished just after I moved back. Like moved back to
I
Ireland.
don't think it was there for ages. It's not like one of the ones that have been there for like ages and ages and ages. Like it, I think it was there for a couple of years,
Yeah,
maybe.
I think it did 3 years on the West End. So yeah, Rose left. So I was on Book of Mormon from 2013.
Oh my
Yes.
god!
Well,
Ashley.
Yes, we went to see Book
Ash,
of
we
Mormon
went to see
together.
you.
Yeah. I do.
Yeah.
When
Oh, that's so good.
I was with Matt whenever he first seen Book of Mormon. I don't know how many times he's seen it, but for the first time, Matt, I went with you that time anyway. We sat in the front and we couldn't stop laughing, and I think we were right behind the orchestra, weren't we?
You're right up there because we got the lottery tickets.
Yeah, and the camera kept picking up us laughing our heads off. And
Oh my gosh, I remember that day actually, because Matt, you could probably attest to this. You do not have the quietest laugh. Let's be clear.
I am dainty as fuck. Okay, I'm adorable. Just saying, I will say this though. I started listening to podcasts at like 1.2 speed or 1.5 speed, just because at the moment I think, and same for hours, they're a lot longer at the moment because I think people have just got bare time in their hands.
Yeah.
So I started listening to them faster, and I was listening to our podcast, the one just gone, and then my laugh obviously is quite distinct and loud, and it was like, if you listen to my laugh at fast speed, it's ridiculous. It's like, I was like, oh shit, I couldn't stop laughing. I was like, oh my god, I need to stop laughing at this. Anyway,
You know what you need to do? You need to sample it, and put it in a beat.
it could probably work. Do you know who, like, what's her name, that young girl? Because her and her brother, Billie Eilish, her and her brother like to find like sounds out in like just regular life. So I probably just like laugh, send it to her and him, and then see if they'll use me in one of their songs.
Yep, make millions. But yeah,
wicked.
when we were performing and you were in the audience, my friends substage on the show were like, "That's your friend, right? The one sitting right behind the MD, who's also on the camera that we have backstage." And we were watching you laugh from backstage because we could see you on the MD's camera.
It's so good. Yeah, because I'm loud at laughing, but I'm not just loud and expressive. It's a whole like tilt the head back, open mouth, like one of the puppets in Avenue Q, like properly. Just like, blah, blah, blah.
It's a full experience. Like it's a whole thing.
It's good. I think, do you know what though? I think it helps make the show. Like if you saw me at the front just losing my shit, I feel like it should help.
Absolutely,
go.
absolutely. Like,
So you're welcome.
Shows.
You are welcome.
Yeah, no, thank you. Because there've been so many shows where you're like, this is a comedy, and yet there is somebody sat on the front row who is asleep. I'm like, first of all, you know it's not an inexpensive ticket. Like it's a lot of money.
I was about to say, that's an
and
expensive
this
nap.
person
That is
such an expensive nap. That's exactly what we say. Like, what an expensive nap this person has taken. Kudos to him, because we're playing music loud, we're jumping around, we're, you know, absolutely sweating our bollocks off. Sorry for saying bollocks, but then you look into the audience and you're like, this person is just not responding whatsoever because they're asleep. Okay, cool. Just keep like find it somewhere else.
How is that possible?
I don't know. I couldn't.
It's
tell
such a good show. Oh my god, it's so funny. So funny. That's madness. Yeah. Have you had any like? What is like the worst experience you've had performing?
Oh gosh, that's
not. You can't say Matt laughing in the front row because he's right on the recording as well. That would be.
No, I can genuinely say from the bottom of my heart that was a joyful experience. The worst experience that I had. Oh gosh, Okay, so the worst experience that I had on that show that was funny was so in Spooky Mormon Hell Dream, we have to wear these like all black onesies with skeleton like bones on all over them.
I was going to say, in your case, they just had you naked and painted you.
Okay. How dare you? I've been to the gym once since Aloysius, okay? Allow me.
Go on, anyway.
Um,
Now you're hench. You're hench now. Like, you're good. You're good.
You just couldn't resist it, could you, Matt? Could you?
I shall not resist.
Punch me right in the ribs, which brings me back to the story, actually. So there was for Spooky Mormon Hell Dream, like the hellscape, like all of the flats, and so like these massive curtains fly in from the top of the stage area, depicting obviously the hell landscape, and one of them, so basically when they come down, part of them sometimes touches the stage, and that bit is usually meant to go down and back as an upstage, so underneath, so that it's out of everyone's way. On the day that this incident occurred, it did not go down and back, it went down and forward, so it wasn't secure. And so I'm there in my skeleton onesie with ballet plimsolls in, and I go to start doing my routine, and so I'm the person, by the way, who was charged with holding a cup of water so that Elder Price could drink water in the middle of Hell Dream, and that's the only drink that he gets before he then goes from Hell Dream through to another scene through to I Believe, right? And I Believe is a massive sing for anybody who knows it. So I had to give him that water. So I go to step out, and on my first, like my count of one, which is to jump down onto my left leg. This leg goes down with such force, but because that bit of curtain was slid out, my foot, I kid you not, my foot flew behind me. And I swear, like, in my head, it's like it came back and touched me in the back of my head. It obviously did not do that. I'm not that flexible.
It probably could have. No, your head's just that big. I've seen the back of your head. It definitely did.
That's not fair. I definitely teed you up for that one, and I regret it immediately.
Shit, boy, you gave it to me, served it on a platter.
So I landed directly on my ribs, and directly on my elbow, and directly on my knee. And I was like, wow. But there's this crazy thing that happens, right? When you mess up in theatre, like, you don't know how you get back up, but you just get back up. So I don't really remember being on the floor. I just remember looking at my hand, seeing I still had the cup of water, and then all of a sudden being back on my feet and going over to Elder Price. But afterwards, I was like, wow, I went down hard, like total wipeout kind of hard.
On the stage in front of the audience?
On the stage in front of the audience. Yeah. It was it was funny in hindsight, but I remember being like, I'm bruised, like I'm fully bruised, but at least he got his water.
People must have gasped, but I guess you wouldn't have noticed that because you'd have been like,
yeah, adrenaline kicks in and you just do not notice anything. Yeah. Oh my god, there've been audible gasps from the audience for other reasons during that show. Like, there was a time when my friend Olivia was twirling one of the devil canes, and she smacked it a little bit too hard on the floor, and then she lifted it up, and the end of the trident flew off the trident into the audience. Then there was an audible gasp.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's so bad. We had one. I went to see this play last year, and in the middle of the play, this person was sitting next to their family member or their friend, and was basically like, whatever her name was, she was like, ma'am, wake up, and this is in the audience, so they're trying to act at the bottom, and this person's like, oh my god, she's not waking up. Someone needs to get help in the middle of the performance, and then the play had to stop. And then everyone crowded around this person, and then apparently, I don't know what was wrong, but they were fine. They managed to wake up. But the bitch thought she like died or something, and they had to stop the whole performance near the end at this really dramatic part. And the performance was so good, like they just stopped. And then they cleared the stage, and this was dealt with. Everything had to stop. And I mean, they were in a really deep part of the play. Like, you're crying. It was a really good play. I can't remember. It's like this Northern Irish one. I can't remember what it's called. I don't know. But it was really a good play.
Is that no?
And then the actors.
Trying to think what play that would have been, but now go on.
Yeah. Anyway, the actors came back on, and then they were able somehow to get back their feeling and really get your emotion in it, and just move on really, really seamlessly. But to have to stop I've never ever seen a performance just stop. I've never seen that, and the actors leave. And this person was fine.
It happens more often than you think. We I think on Kinky Boots we had 2 occasions where somebody was taken ill in the audience and the show had to stop for quite a substantial amount of time. And like there was one time, I think it was just before Not My Father's Son, where I had to leave they were like, the show's coming to a stop, we're stopping here. I went back to, like, I think we were in Southampton. I went back to my dressing room, and I had loads of time while everything, like, they tried to make sure that the person was okay, make sure that the audience member, was, taken somewhere or moved. I think there was an occasion where they couldn't be moved, because of what had happened to them, and I can't remember what that was exactly. But yeah, the old adage goes, the show must go on. So that will happen because it's live theatre and it's one of the aspects of it being, there and present. And then, the curtain goes back up, you reset and you start again.
Yeah, man, that'd be so tough to like carry on. Oof.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Howdy. Just a reminder that this episode continues on part B. So check that out. It should be uploaded now too. Thanks.